Hey guys, welcome to the Matt Story. Great to be back. It's Andre here, as usual, with Simon. Simon, how you doing, man? How you feel to be back?
I'm good. I'm just a bit tired from Easter and going back to work today, but finally got around to doing this.
It's been a long time coming. I've been waiting to do this for a little while. I've had some people asking me when is it coming back, so I'm glad that we've finally been able to get down and get to it. Today
Yeah.
we've got quite a bit to get through. We're going to look at WrestleMania, talk about the good points about that. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about The Undertaker retiring. I never
Yep.
saw that coming. Funny one. To be honest with you, we knew it was going to happen, but I didn't see it happening on that particular day. But we'll talk more about that. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff basically almost where we left off from last year, actually, because the brand extension hadn't happened yet, but we were discussing it. If guys were listening to this podcast, if you want to go back at some of the other stuff, you can kind of see what we were talking about in regards to the brand extension. Also going to talk about Roman Reigns moving forward. I feel that needs to be addressed. The women's division, which was something, again, we spent a lot of time talking about before. And I think it'd be great just to go and talk over it again, just to kind of see the difference between last year. And of course, another topic which I think's on everybody's mind, Goldberg and Lesnar. I know everybody's
Yeah.
had a little chat about it, but we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of it today.
I didn't have any problem with it.
You want to kick off with Goldberg and Lesnar?
Yeah, why not? Seeing as
All
we're
right.
on the subject, I didn't have a problem with it. They
I
didn't.
did.
Well, now let me
Massively.
say
Go on.
this.
Go
They
on.
brought Goldberg in, right? They didn't have him go over a multitude of young talent, yeah, which could have easily happened. They could have just had him squash guy after guy on Raw. They didn't do that. They had him beat Lesnar. I had a slight problem with the way that Lesnar went down at first when it was spear jackhammer. Goldberg was obviously a bit too gassed to do anything more than that at the time. But, moving forward, they actually did make a compelling story out of it. And, it culminated at WrestleMania. The previous match these guys had at WrestleMania was shit out of the stadium. Don't forget that. But this time, the fans were into it. Everyone knew Goldberg was going, and it went well.
Do you think, seriously?
I do. I feel
The 5 minutes
for
of
the
it, was it
limited
that? Okay.
Goldberg, that you've got to understand, Goldberg is not going to be a man who's going to be doing moonsaults and flips off the ropes or anything like that. All Goldberg can do at this stage of his career is have a hoss fight.
Yeah, but Simon, in all honesty, he was never that guy that was going to be doing the high spots. But to be honest with you, in my honest opinion, now don't get me wrong, this is not me saying that I don't dislike Goldberg or I dislike Lesnar or anything like that. Got a lot of respect and time for both of them. But when I kind of think about what I saw over that feud, the word laziness comes to mind because it's just basically there wasn't much of it. Let's put it like this, right? Through three pay-per-views, so the Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, they didn't wrestle 10 minutes.
What we have to remember in all of this is Goldberg's in his 50s. Goldberg's in his 50s. He's been away from WWE for 13 years. We have to bear that in mind. Kurt Angle or Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair or anyone of that mold could be gone from the ring for that amount of time, and they couldn't just strut in and have a classic. We have to remember that. Goldberg has serious limitations in regard to his bump card, what he can actually do. So for what it was, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but at the same time, Simon, this takes two. And Brock is somebody who I think can, if he needed to, actually go. I think
They couldn't
I
have
just generally
Lesnar hurt
feel
Goldberg,
Yeah,
though. He was so
I'm not saying
delicate,
that.
they needed to get him to Mania.
This was the thing, but it's almost like if you're going to do it, why do it like that? You may as well not do it. Quite honestly, because if you're going to turn around, it's basically, if you look at Brock Lesnar and you look at Goldberg, they both got solid careers. I think, now not in a massive way, but when you get to a point where when you start mucking about like that, it starts to taint what you did before. It's like for me, right? If you look at Ric Flair, now I'm somebody who wasn't about in the main Ric Flair run that he had back in the 70s and the 80s, right? But I've taken the time to go and look at that. But for those who are a bit older, if you were going to look at him basically from the 2002 to what basically when he retired, that ain't the guy that they remember. If you catch my
obviously not,
drift.
but,
Do you know what I
he
mean?
still managed to put on classic matches, and Goldberg ain't no Ric Flair.
It's very true. It's very
Yeah.
true. But at the same time, I just feel that, do you know what? If you're gonna do that, then do it. If you weren't gonna do it the right way, then don't do it at all. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, why put Goldberg in that position if he was not able to do it?
Yeah, but I don't think it was even a case of WWE forcing him to do it. I think it was a case of Goldberg saying, I'll only come back for the biggest match against the biggest guy you have. And the biggest guy WWE has is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, true.
You know, who's bigger than Lesnar in star power? Nobody.
All right, okay, let's put it like this, right? So would you say that what went down was credible of being at that point in the card at WrestleMania? To be classed as a main event, to be a world title match at WrestleMania, would you say that is generally...
You know what? It was the right result. The match was the right result. It didn't take place right at the very top of the card. WWE know their money is in Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. They sold a shitload of merchandise. You know what I mean? WWE, they're not
all right, fair enough. From a business standpoint.
You know, WWE have always been about how can this benefit us in a business sense. They're not, WWE 95% of the time don't ask, right, so how can this make our fans happy? You know, that's not what they're necessarily about.
It's true.
WWE are a lot about the bottom line in regards to their financials, and if something's making them money, why change it?
Jumping topic for 1 second. Did you notice anything about that about the positioning of the matches at WrestleMania this year?
WWE just lost the plot in regards to any positioning whatsoever. I don't care. WWE, you have one main event. You don't have 4 co-main events. Just to put that out there.
Oh, good job. It was just like, because basically, if you remember, if anybody who's listening to this, if you actually kind of took a look at the match list throughout, the SmackDown Women's title match kind of like disappeared for like from the start of the pay-per-view pretty much to about 10 minutes before it actually happened, disappeared. So I thought that they basically just scrapped the match because of like timings elsewhere. Someone's gone over or something like that. But
so we can get to see Triple H and Stephanie come down to the ring on a Mario Kart.
Oh my! Do you know what? To be fair though, I felt that entrance. To be honest with you, last year's Triple H's WrestleMania entrance wasn't saying very much, nor the year before.
And what we have to remember quickly, Andre, as well. What would we have done without Flow Rider this year, man? Come on. We needed that Flow Rider performance.
What do you mean? Flow Rider is WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, we needed that. Dude, definitely. Flow Rider should have took the top of the card.
If Flow Rider ain't in it, I'm not watching it. It's getting switched off.
Flow Rider should just have had the main event slot for a 20-minute concert.
Dude, seriously, he's cemented his place. He's got SummerSlam. SummerSlam's his. WrestleMania's his. Nobody else can come anywhere near that.
The undefeated streak of Flow Rider.
Now, do you know what? To be fair to you, right? This WrestleMania just gone. That has got to be the best WrestleMania I've watched in years. Seriously, in about 4 or 5 years.
You know what? A lot of time, people go into WrestleMania with such a heightened expectation of what they're going to see, especially over the last few years when, you know, the roster like 5 or 6 years ago wasn't nearly as deep as what it is now. You know, so the Mania's sort of dragged down a little bit and people got a bit jaded and complaining about the match results more vehemently than they normally would. But now you've got guys like AJ Styles and people like that, Kevin Owens, Jericho, Lesnar, you know, Rollins, Triple H, you know, Ziggler as well. There's so many names there now that are capable of carrying the card.
Dude, I know about the guys listening, and you guys who are listening, you let me know if you feel any different. But for me, one of the biggest matches of that night was Shane versus AJ. I know it was the first official, obviously you had the pre-show, but it was the first official WrestleMania match. For me, they killed it. That was one of
love
my
that match,
favorite
right?
matches. I thought, what?
I did love it. Yeah, I love that match. I got right into it. I really enjoyed it. But please, Shane McMahon, if this somehow reaches you, you have the single worst thrown right-handed punches in the business. And can you please stop?
Dude, do you know what? I think, do you know what? Right. When it comes to WrestleMania, Shane goes to a different level. To be honest with you, even after last year when he went against Taker, you got to respect that. This year, he just went to the next level with that and got my respect even more. But do you know what? At the same time,
I love Shane. I just want him to stop throwing really weak punches.
I think at the same time, though, you got to give credit to AJ Styles because AJ Styles can go in there and throw down with anybody.
AJ Styles can carry a broom to a 4-star match.
Exactly, and at WrestleMania he proved it. I'm not to say, obviously, you got to take into consideration, right? First of all, Shane McMahon's must be nearly 47 years of age now, and at the same time, he's not a wrestler week in, week out. So, do you know what? My hat's off to both of them. Banging result, man. Banging result for both of them.
Definitely a good match, and I did enjoy it. I love AJ Styles, man. AJ Styles is a man. And hopefully next year we get AJ from Shinsuke.
To be fair, I think AJ should be in WrestleMania main event. Like closing match.
Yeah, AJ versus Shinsuke. I can never
no. Hold on.
It's a British problem.
Simon, it's going to be AJ versus Roman Reigns. Come on.
Nah, better not. Better fucking not.
Fourth year on the trot.
I've got no problem with Roman Reigns as a person or anything like that, but his booking has just been atrocious. I've got no problem with Roman Reigns. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but he's just a victim of creative misdoings right now.
Dude, we're going to come back to Roman Reigns a little bit later on, but one thing I'm going to have to come out here and say, right? Last year, when we were doing the match story for the first season, I came out and I said about a certain brand extension. Now, at that point, the brand extension wasn't in proper flow, but I was basically against it heavily. I will openly come out here and admit it.
Right.
I was totally against it.
I am
going on record of saying I made a mistake.
I was so right. Just putting that out there. I said this ages ago.
Do you know what? All right, do you know what? Forget it. I'm not even going to turn around and say anything. You were right. I was wrong. To be honest with you, that was exactly what was needed, was that brand extension. But I will openly admit, last year, I was totally 110% against it. But I was wrong. Do you know what? What it needed, what that did was, it made SmackDown important again. It actually...
SmackDown's a much better show over since the split.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It actually made so... I'm not even going to go that far, Simon, and say
Braun Strowman, to be honest. Braun Strowman is awesome. I love Braun Strowman.
I think they need to kind of find their way about how they were going to do it, quite honestly, because I felt initially, when they first dropped the Universal Championship, I went for it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like the name of it, didn't like the whole concept of it. I felt that if you were going to do that, you may as well just come back to the World Heavyweight title. But over time, what they've done with it, I've actually really got involved with it and really got behind it.
A lot of that is thanks to Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Very true. And in turn on SmackDown, a lot of that is AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is the face that runs the place.
Do you know what I actually thought? Do you know this is the level it should be? When they had that triple threat match, Bray Wyatt, John Cena, and AJ Styles. When they put that down, I thought this is the standard that it should be. This is what has been missing. This is what has been wrong for the past couple of years that we were talking about saying it. Because remember before, it was week in, week out, pointers. When I watched that, I thought, you know what, I can't really fault this. This is how it should be.
I also have another thing to say that I called about WrestleMania.
What was that?
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. I called that.
What, right? Do you know what? You did. In fairness, you did call that quite a while ago. To be honest with you, I forgot completely about it. until the New Day came out, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be the Hardys. But you know what? It's just great to see them back in WWE. It's been too long, man. It really has.
It's hard to believe that Jeff and Matt Hardy are in their 40s now.
Do you know? But then again, do you know what? Right? I feel this is very important that you've got a lot of the old school still there to kind of work with the new school, if you like. Because it's not even so much, because you know back in the day when WCW split, it was like you had like New Breed and the Elders. This works.
ECW Originals and the New Breed, and CM Punk was on one of the teams with Monty Brown, I believe. Kevin Ford, if I remember right, and Ariel.
I thought that was dead, quite honestly. I actually prefer it this way, where it's all just mixed up. All right, going back to what you were saying before, though, I feel like, for instance, even if you bring someone in like The Rock, right, and you let The Rock have his month, The Rock's still going in there doing his thing properly. That was my only criticism against the whole Goldberg and Lesnar thing. Don't want to go back onto that again, but that was just me making the point.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But, you know, for what it was, compared to what it was before, they did a good job.
Do you know what? I think we may have to agree to disagree on that one. I think it could have been done so much better. I'll leave it at this, right? Like I said,
hindsight is a valuable thing.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. I felt, but walking away from that, you could not sell me that match again under any circumstances. Let's put it like this. I basically thought, when I sat back and thought about it, right, and actually they did this well, because when after Survivor Series, I said the only way how you could sell me this match is if it was a world title match and it was at WrestleMania. And that's exactly what they did. They gave a world title match and it was at WrestleMania. But to be honest with you, I would not be into that match again. And okay, if that's what they want, if they have achieved what they wanted to achieve out of it, then fair play and job well done if that's what they feel. But for me, I just felt it could be done so much better from all parties involved.
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is, as they say.
Very true, sir. Very true. Very true. So going back to what we were talking about before with the brand extension, actually, I want to mix two topics, the brand extension and the women's division. Now, we spent a lot of time talking about the women's division last year, and we were getting quite heavily behind Sasha Banks, because at the time, she hadn't quite had her women's title run. Now, since then, obviously, I think she's had about 3 women's title runs. Her and Charlotte went back and forth and just basically took things to another level, which is what we were talking about, which we wanted to see at the time last year. If you remember, Simon.
Yeah, I remember.
So what was your thoughts on that, basically? Because I know, like I said, you were behind Sasha Banks even more than I was at the time.
Yeah, but, you know, WWE, they really, really annoyed me with the route they did it. Like, having Sasha constantly win on Raw and Charlotte constantly winning on pay-per-view. And it was just like an endless loop. I loved the matches. They put on good matches. But after a while, it just got a bit samey. And I'm glad that Charlotte's on SmackDown now because she needed the change. I think Nia Jax is just a waste of time.
Really? Why?
Nia Jax is a waste of time.
Why? Why do you think that? I think she's all right, man. I think...
Nah, man, she's botchy, she's green, she's got no charisma. She's just a big woman in the ring.
I know,
doing
give her
hot
a chance,
stuff.
though, man. Give her a chance. I mean, obviously, she hasn't been there that long.
Yeah, but that's what NXT's for, man.
Yeah, true. No.
That's what NXT's for. They bumped her straight up to the main roster because she's The Rock's cousin.
Okay, but I still... Do you know what? So you're trying to tell me that the match at WrestleMania, she didn't have a good part in that? She didn't contribute
Didn't she
nicely
get
to that?
eliminated
She
first?
did well. She did, but she turned around and dominated everybody beforehand.
Yeah, but look at someone like Eric Rowan. The big moves are only going to work for so long before they're really boring and you're not winning.
I get you on that. But
that's all I'm saying. I'm not a big fan of Nia Jax, to be honest.
All right, fair enough.
I'd much prefer a power wrestler in a woman in the form of Beth Phoenix or Caitlyn or someone of that mould.
I'll meet you
I
halfway.
can't really take Nia Jax seriously.
I'll meet you halfway on that, basically. I'll say that, you know what? Okay, what they've done so far, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're trying to say. Try to make her big, make her powerful. Work out what you're going to do next to her, because, yeah, you are 110% right. This is going to, if they don't move in the right way, this is going to get boring very quickly, because at
They
the
need
end
to
of the
give me
day,
something light. Give me something to rally around. You know, I'm not one of these fans, Andre, who just looks for stuff to dislike. If someone's doing something good, I'll say they're doing something good. Like The Miz. Damn, The Miz is doing the best work of his career. You know what I mean? But if it's the same thing every week since she's debuted, and then you leave her off TV for 3 weeks, and then we just see her randomly pop up in a squash match, why am I going to give a shit?
not to change topic, actually, but I want to move on very quickly. Have you noticed that, John Cena's promos recently? It's almost like, and I don't like it, it's almost like he's taking direct personal shots, almost like it's not a promo. Do you know what I mean? Like he's generally having a rant at that person. Like
John Cena's a part-timer now.
Oh god, do you remember? Right, do you remember? All right, at Royal Rumble, not at the Royal Rumble. Sorry, the the SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, where he just turned around and took shots at AJ Styles.
John Cena backstage is known as a very fickle man.
Dude, I just felt that was very heavy, because it was almost like, do you know what? It was almost like, do you know, everything that anyone's ever said to him, he's taken that opportunity of AJ Styles to turn around and say, you know what? Yeah, I heard you. I know what you've been saying, and this is what I've got to say. But they're doing it vicariously through AJ Styles. And I just felt that was a bit strong.
Do you know what? In regards to Cena in his Mania match, I'm all for you doing whatever you're going to do, but that proposal in the ring, my God, pass the sick bucket. You want that on Total Divas, put it on Total Divas. Not this crap at the expense of face Miz.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'd much rather see Maurice than Nikki.
Yeah, me too, in actual fact. But yeah, I just felt there was a bit. And to be fair, actually, the way how John Cena was going on at Maurice as well, I was like, wow. Again, this seems like a genuine personal shot, not like
I prefer that Cena in the ring to the making jokes about poo.
Yeah, true that. But do you know what? At the same time, all this aside, John Cena's proven he can still go. All right, he didn't have the longest. His last world title reign wasn't the longest, but when you watch him, he can still go. He can still do everything the same way he always has done. And at the end of the day, in a world where things are ever changing, you can rely on John Cena to just be that guy that's just going to go out there.
You can rely on John Cena to sleep with your girlfriend backstage, guys. just ask Kenny Dykstra.
Oh gosh, Mickie James is back now as well, isn't she?
Yeah, Mickie. No, cool. Someone made that link real fast. Yeah, Mickie James is doing a good job.
She is.
Another good part of the SmackDown Live Women's division.
Dude, to be honest with you, women on SmackDown Live, man, seriously, that has actually been just generally a good watch. With Mickie and Natalya and Alexa Bliss and Naomi. It's been good. It has been good to watch, and it's been a while. Basically, I know a lot of people. One thing I find I don't really say it too much, and guys that are watching, I know some of you will fall into this category, the category that we call the casual fan. Now, one thing I love about casual fans, they see things that we don't. Certain things that we.
I think it's more of a case of they don't see things that we do.
To a point, but it's almost like, do you know what? We kind of see things, but we know why to a point it's happening. And it's like, we don't really pay too much attention to it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're used to it. After, 15, 20 years of watching wrestling, there's just so much you kind of just say, do you know what? Yeah, that is what it is.
Not even just watching wrestling, man.
Involved in it, exactly.
In wrestling on just a complete different variety of levels.
Yeah, exactly. So, which even proves my point further. You just don't see certain things. But when the casual fan watches, right? they'll turn around and say, right, okay, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This don't make sense. All right, that was cool. And you kind of see things from the genuine perspective of almost like on a reality level. And from the casual fans perspective, over the last, let's say, 2 years, the casual fans basically saying, what is going on with this women's wrestling? I turn it off when this comes on, right?
Used to be the piss break match.
Basically. But now, and this is going out to both sides, both Raw and SmackDown women's locker rooms, guys are involved in it. They want to watch it. They actually want to watch it. NXT as well, actually.
Because we're not being subjected to matches like Kelly versus Cameron.
No disrespect to either of them, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Take the time to run the ropes, man. Kelly's claim to fame is being friendly backstage. Very friendly.
But yeah. I mean, if you look at it, man. I mean, to be fair, I'm not even just saying this for any particular reason, but straight, Alexa Bliss for me is probably the best woman in WWE. Period, across all
Alexa
three
Bliss
brands.
is amazing.
Do you know what I mean?
I love her. And I'm not one of these women, you see these guys dressing up in their Bailey t-shirts and their headbands and stuff, and it's cool to see that she's got that support in this fan base, but at the same time I enjoy what Bailey does, but I'm not going to start dressing up like Bailey.
If you want to do that, mate, free country, it's 2017, son, you do that.
More power to you. Personally, I'm cool.
I'm just gonna hide my Bailey t-shirt now and put it over here.
Most of the other listeners, they're taking their headbands off. Hey, I never said I was a good guy. People listening to this, I will take this.
Guys, stick with me. You'll be fine. Don't worry. We're all huggers out here.
You love hugging every night.
But yeah, man. But no, basically, but yeah, with Alexa Bliss, man, she's basically taken it to another level, and it's great to see. It is great to see that you're getting that interest again, because obviously, like we said before, this is what we were talking about last year, wanting to see the women's division, both on Raw and SmackDown, move in the right direction. Okay, at the time, it was all in one, but yes, basically at the time it was all in one, but now obviously it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it is. And, women's wrestling and the people involved, Triple H has got a big part to play in this women's wrestling revival.
Triple H?
The stick that he gets, all of the stick that Triple H gets from a lot of people, he is really, really invested in the next future of WWE.
I totally agree. At the end of the day, I think Triple H, to a point, paid the cost to be the boss. Basically, he knows what comes with that territory. Like I've always said, at the end of the day, with Triple H is that guy that can do it all. No one, not even Vince McMahon, could do it all. Vince can't go out there, run it from the business perspective, go in there and wrestle to a top level as well. Do you know what I mean? He's the guy that's been in there, that's been in both the locker room, been one of the top guys in the locker room, got the respect of the locker room, and has basically transitioned and gone and taken that same respect and taken it to the boardroom and taken it to the production team and done it that way. And I think if you're going to have a guy who's going to move things in the right way to the future, this is the guy for the job.
People forget, Triple H, a lot of people say, oh, Triple H, he married Stephanie, he just married into it, blah, blah, blah. Triple H is one of the most ardent students of the wrestling game there has ever been.
100%.
Triple H is a man who is technical. He's a man who can brawl. He's a man that can grapple. He's a man that can take it outside the ring.
Well,
Triple H, he was trained by Harley Race.
I know. And Killer Kowalski,
Killer Kowalski,
Hall of Famers. But at the same time, you got to look at it like this, right? You can say that about Stephanie, and let's be brutally honest about it. You can't sit back and tell me that had no effect at all into where he is now. But at the same time, Triple H was a world champion before he got with Stephanie. So yes, okay, but he earned that. He to get to that position as a wrestler, he earned it. Anything else, all right, you can debate, but the position he got as a wrestler, he earned that. With or
Triple
without
H
Stephanie
has
McMahon.
paid his dues more than a lot of people. Even going back as far as 1998, man, when he was having those matches with Mick Foley.
Dude, going back to 1996 after the Montreal Screwjob. For those, I'm not going to go into a too deep a history lesson, but for those of our listeners who didn't know, basically, Triple H kind of got in a situation where he was the main person who could be punished, shall we say, and he was. But as opposed to getting negative about it, he took things like a man and basically kept looking forward. And had that not happened, history for some other people, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example, may not have been the way it was. But all in all, Triple H still rose to the top and basically showed that he had the skills to persevere.
Never forget that WCW released Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, exactly.
Never forget.
Never forget Triple H started out there first and left.
That was a big mess back then. Imagine the fun we would have had talking about the Attitude Era as it was ongoing.
Oh, exactly. I mean, the Attitude... we've spoken about the Attitude Era many a time, and to a point, right? We used to say that the Attitude Era to a point should come back. I think, do you know what? We should let the sleeping dogs lie, but I think an incarnation of it again, or something that kind of had that pull, because back then, man, it was everywhere. It was the hottest thing going, regardless basically of whether you knew. Let's put it like this, right? Whether you were a wrestling fan or not, everybody knew who Stone Cold was, regardless of whatever. Everybody knew who The Rock was. Everybody knew who Jericho was. Do you know what I mean? That was it. It just kind of spread out over everything.
Well, when it really went massive was Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
Hulk Hogan really put this on the map with Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage.
Dude,
and Ricky
that
Steamboat.
was before my time directly. Obviously, you probably know a little bit more about it.
Me and Andre, like 27, 28 years old. We're not old guys. We might be, to some of you listening, you might consider us ancient at this point. But it's not like we're just,
Simon.
it's not like we're just rattling this off. Like, me and Andre have taken the time to really watch what happened in the past to appreciate the present. 100%. I have a strong belief. P.E. Staniforth will agree. Me and him say this all the time. Without the old school, there's no new school. You've 100%. Really got to pay homage to the past for the future to even happen.
And even up to now, guys like P.E. Staniforth who actually watch a lot of the 1980s WCW matches, New Japan, things like that, which basically, like you said, you may not even see it because it's so wide. There's so much of it. It's just too much to kind of focus on unless you directly make a point of doing it. But a lot of that stuff now has shaped what we've got. Like, for instance, I remember CM Punk once saying, obviously everybody knows the GTS and directly refers that to CM Punk. But CM Punk will openly tell you he learnt that from a guy in Japan.
Yeah, when at Kenta.
Yes, I think it was actually, yeah.
Kenta. Who's not having the best of times in WWE, but hopefully that turns around.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of these things everybody learns. It's like the same thing. It was Conan that taught Bret Hart the sharpshooter, believe it or not. But
you know what? Yeah, you got one of the. You know what? I'm going to change the subject myself for a few minutes.
Go for it,
because we've got to talk about it. Shinsuke Nakamura is perhaps the biggest thing WWE have had on their hands since the Yes Movement exploded. Shinsuke Nakamura has a connection when he hooks you right from the minute those violins start playing. From the minute he starts going down that rampway, he is engaging the fans. He is bringing them into his aura just from his characteristics.
And then he gets in the ring.
And then he gets in the ring and he does the basic things right. And
this is why he's going to go far, because he's got that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think back to it, if you take a guy, let's take Jeff Hardy, for example. Jeff Hardy for everything that he does. He's always been a very popular guy, always, all throughout his career. But he only got the pushes and only kind of got to that main event level where he was winning the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship when he started not focusing so heavily on the high spots, but doing all the basic movements right, getting the holds in place properly and things of that nature. And I think basically, from what you're telling me, my man here, he can do that already. So he's got a lot.
Shinsuke Nakamura he oozes charisma. He oozes charisma. And not only that, he can go from spot to spot so seamlessly in the ring. And I'm not talking about, forearms off the top rope. I'm talking about stiff kicks and stiff looking punches and transitions to the ground, and all of his mannerisms are just so in check with the audience that WWE would have to catastrophically do something horrendous for him to lose his momentum.
Dude, you know what? I think that they put him in NXT, put him around a crowd that could properly get behind him and invest in him and kind of take his style and learn it, if you like. And I think they've seasoned him in the right way. So they've left him on NXT till it's got to a point where it's like, you know what? We've got as far as we possibly can go here, and then brought him up to SmackDown. It's the same thing. It's not the same thing to a point, but I'd say Samoa Joe. I think
SmackDown is the right show.
Yeah, I think SmackDown's for Shinsuke Nakamura. I'd say, yeah, SmackDown's right for him. I want to see them do some more with Samoa Joe because I think that Samoa Joe's got a lot that he can do.
It looks like he's going to get a match with Rollins at the next pay-per-view.
I'm looking for more than that, man. I want to see him go against Reigns. I really do.
I don't want to see anyone go against Reigns. If Reigns goes heel, the best thing that WWE can do to even possibly get the crowd to cheer him is to reunite the Shield for a few months, have them go against, I don't know, anyone. Just pick a name out of a hat for a group of three.
Dude, the moment's gone. The moment's gone with the Shield. I can't see that working. Man.
If the moment was gone, right, if the moment was gone, how comes Roman Reigns still wearing the exact same goddamn attire, the exact same goddamn music, the same goddamn moves, but only not in a hot tag setting? It's boring, man.
I know, but this is the point. That's because it's not the Shield, it's Roman's now.
There's a reason that Roman, Seth, and Dean are all on the same show again, and I'm calling it. Before SummerSlam, they're going to reunite for a match, at least one.
Do you know what, right? I can't remember what. I was watching something the other day. It was a highlight when I think it was Randy Orton. They triple powerbombed him. After the Shield, basically, they all came together. I think it was in the middle of Fatal 4-Way, and that for let's say the 30 seconds it happened was amazing. I was like, yeah, that was actually sick. But to go down the whole Shield route again, can't see it happening. I think too much water's under the bridge. Too much water's under the bridge generally with the storyline. They killed it. They did it so right that it's just going to go wrong. I can't see it. I cannot see it happening. Man.
You said the same when I do the brand split, bro.
Yeah, but I'm going to say differently on this one. I think it's going to be, that will do more harm than good.
Are you willing? All right, you willing to bet that me saying I told you so again?
Yeah, go on.
All right, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Take that like a champ.
But,
right,
do you know what? I think it's time we talk about Roman Reigns. Now, do you know what? I'm going to come out here, and guys who are listening, love me, hate me, do what you want. I am Team Roman. I am backing Roman Reigns because you know what, right? This guy cannot catch a break no matter what he does. People don't want to see this guy succeed. I don't know what it is, Simon. Do you know what was the worst thing, right?
Booking.
How was it booking? What do you mean? I don't.
Cena 2.0.
No, do you know what though? Like Cena, do you know what? Right, Cena was fine for quite a while, right? And people were behind Cena. Remember, and this is one thing about Cena, guys who listen at home. So for Cena, right? Cena is the biggest thing in the world in terms of wrestling at the moment, and has been for the last 10 years. Guys, let me tell you something, yeah? Cena went 2 years without winning a title. In fact, there was a time which basically, if you look at it like this, Cena came in 2002 and didn't win a title till 2004, right? So basically there, I was sitting back thinking, when's he going to win? What's going to happen? This guy's going to be going.
Oh, shit, sorry, Andre, you lost me there, mate. I fell asleep. Oh, sorry, man. You started going on about Cena, and I sort of like drifted off, like in
all right,
every
fair enough.
Matches.
But at the same time, basically, with that, right, it took a while to get behind him. Then everybody was for quite a while. It's only when we got to like 2007, 2008 that we thought, you know what, enough's enough now. Give the guy a chance. I'm talking about Roman Reigns now. Give the guy a chance. What's the problem? But the thing is, right, this is my issue. Whatever he does, people have got a problem. The guy entered the Royal Rumble at number 30. He got booed. Why?
There's such an easy solution for this, though. All they need to do is turn him heel for a year, build him up to a big turn, and your problem is solved.
Yeah,
they'd have booed themselves out.
It's not even as if, though, Roman Reigns is like proper babyface like John Cena was. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like that. He's not that kind of character.
He's not.
When you turn him heel, what do you want him to do? What is he going to do that he doesn't do now?
Mate, you know, it's just that people aren't buying it. You know, it's not working. We've got to listen to that. You know, but at the same time, they're making a lot of money. So this is WWE. They ain't going to change that when they make money.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there perfectly.
It goes back to the casual fan. WWE couldn't care less if you stand in the arena and boo him because you paid to be there.
Yeah, precisely. Fills their pockets nicely. But as far as I'm concerned with Roman Reigns, man, he needs to just keep doing what he's doing because you can't win. He cannot win. Whatever he does, people got a problem with him.
Yeah.
Moving forwards, but do you know what? At the same time, and this is the problem that I think he has, is tainting what he's doing because where does he go? If you look at it, what realistically is there for Roman Reigns to do? He's won the WWE Championship 3 times over. He's won a Royal Rumble.
All poorly received.
Do you know what I mean? Thank you. So it's almost like when you look at it, he's done quite a lot. He's beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
I just think people get annoyed, as well, because they see Roman getting all of this. They've got time to give Roman all of this stuff. Yet they won't give a guy like Cesaro or Sami Zayn even one pay-per-view where they come just even close to the title.
Do you know what I mean? They're giving R-Truth more than they're giving them to.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of resentment lies there.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns gets the shit end of the stick because of it. Because the fans see, well, he's the reason we're not getting Cesaro versus Zayn versus Owens in a title match.
I'm not being funny, right? But as much as we want to say this, they're doing that with Kevin Owens as well, though. They're stuffing Kevin Owens down your throat.
Nah, Kevin Owens is a bit different, though, because he doesn't win every single match. He loses a lot.
Yeah, no, but he's always got a title.
Yeah, but that's because he's a money player.
Yeah, I suppose, but still, it's just like, he's always in main event contention.
You've got to admit,
but you know what?
Roman Reigns don't come nowhere near Owens on the microphone.
Yeah, true.
They need to have a title on someone like Kevin Owens because he can talk 20 minutes of their show.
It's true. I think Jericho helped him, though.
Right, Andre, my battery is going to die. I'm really sorry, guys, but we are going to have to wrap this up now.
Guys, we got so much more we need to discuss, but what we'll do, we'll come back to you next week, same time.
Yep.
Of course, obviously, guys. We'll be back, guys. We'll be back. Guys, remember to check us at The Matt Story on Twitter and also at The Matt Story on Facebook as well. Leave your comments, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.